that the Ramban in the beginning, not in the beginning, but in Parshas Vayishlach says, "Oy malacho klal," I'll give you a general rule. Tovin oisoi b'chol haparshiyos habois. It's something that you should pay attention to in all the upcoming parshas. Be'inyan Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, who inyan Godol, his kiruhu Rabbeinu b'derech ktsara, v'omru kol ma she'ira lo'avois simen lebon. V'lochein ya'arichu haksuvim b'sipur hamaso'os v'chafiras habe'erois v'shar hamikrim v'yachshoy v'choyshev bohem kilu hem dvarim miutorim ein bohem toyeles. However, v'kulam bohem l'lamed al ha'osid. Yeah, it all comes to teach us about the future. So also in the Hagdamah to Parshas Vayishlach, the Ramban says that this story over here is Yesh Bazeh Remez L'Doros Ki Kol She'iro La'Avinu Im Esav Ochiv. Everything that happened to Yaakov Avinu with his brother Esav, Yera Lonu Tomid Im Bnei Esav. This is something that will happen to us throughout the Golus with the Bnei Esav. V'ro'ui Lonu Lechois B'darkoi Shel Tzadik. We should do as Yaakov did, Shenazmin Atzmeinu L'Shloishes Hadvorim, Tfilah, Doren, Mulchama. And but there's one detail in this week's parsha that it's not just the midrash that tells us that we should ma'asav v'simon labanim, but the pasuk actually tells us the vayovek ish imoy. It says that because vateka kaf yerech Yaakov behei koi imoy, therefore al kain lo yoichlu b'nei Yisrael es gid hanoshe ad hayom hazeh. So the Torah clearly says that we hold back from eating the Gid HaNoshe L'Doros because of this experience that Yaakov Avinu had when he was Vayovek with the Malach and with the Ish. We don't know who the Ish is. And Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov. What exactly are we meant to remember? What's the message? I mean, what? We refrain from eating the Gid HaNoshe because Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov. I mean, what are we supposed to remember in this Maisa? So the Cheskuni says that the not holding back from eating the Gid HaNoshe is actually an oynish and a knas. He says, Shehinichu aviem hoylech yechidi. It says Vayivasa Yaakov levado. He was all alone. V'heim hoyu giborim, the sons were giborim. V'lohem lahamtin avihem ulesayoy im yitztarek. They should have accompanied him. V'heim loy osu loy levoyo. V'huzak al yodom. Umikan ve'elech yeh lahem lezeicher. V'yiyuz rizim b'mitzvas levoyo. V'lochein livo Yaakov es Yosef. This connects with another Cheskuni, who actually says in Parshas Vayeshev on V'yishalchehu me'emek Chevron, that the Emek Chevron was already on the way, and that Yaakov Avinu accompanied Yosef on his journey till Emek Chevron, and only from there Yosef continued on his own. So he says that that's because from this story we learned the importance of Levoyo. In any case, the Cheskuni is saying that the not eating the Gid HaNoshe is to remind us about the sin of not accompanying Yaakov, and it should encourage us to always look out for others and be malave them when they might need help. The Sforno says, Al kain lo yoichlu b'nei Yisrael kidei sheyia hezik asher hoira b'negias kaf hayerech hezik bedover bilti nechshav etzlein. It's really a very interesting spin. He says that by not eating the Gid HaNoshe, so the Gid HaNoshe becomes an unimportant body part, and therefore it plays down the experience of Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov. And that's why we refrain from eating the Gid HaNoshe, in order to make that experience as not such a terrible thing, because the Gid HaNoshe is anyway not so important. It's exactly what he says. He says, that the hezek of the Negias Kaf HaYerech becomes a hezek bilti nechshav etzleinu. Okay, so that's a way of dealing with a painful experience. I mean, we say it wasn't so bad. I mean, it's anyway not so important. Okay, but there's a whole different cook, a different outlook in other Rishonim, that we're actually not playing down the Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov. We're acknowledging that it was a painful experience, but we're reframing it and transforming it into something positive. How? The chinuch l'mashul, the chinuch in the mitzvah of Gid Anoshe, he says, Mishoroshe mitzvah zoi, kedei shetiyeh remez liyisrael, sha'af al pi sheyizbelu tzorois rabois begoloyois miyad ha'amim umiyad b'nei Esav, sheyiyu betuchim shelo ye'avdu, elo la'olam yamoid zaram ushmon, v'yovei lahem goyel v'yigolim yatzor. ובזוכרם תמיד עניין זה על ידי המצווה שתהיה לזיכרון, יעמדו באמונוסם ובצדקוסם לעולם. ורמז זה הוא, לפי שאויסוי מלך שנלחם עם יעקב אבינו, שבו בקבולה שהויו סורוי של עשיו, רוצו לא אוקרוי ליעקב מן העולם, הוא וזרוי ולא יוכל לו, וציירוי בנגיעס הירך. וכן זרע עשיו מצייר לזרע יעקב, ולבסוף תהיה להם ישוע מהם, כמו שמצינו באב, שזורך לו השם לרפואסי ונוישו מנצר. כן, יזרח לנו השם משום משיח וירפאנו מצערנו ויגולנו אמן במהרה ביומנו. So the chinuch is actually saying that we're trying to remind ourselves of the fact that in spite of the Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov, it was painful, it was difficult, but it didn't hold Yaakov back from advancing forward. And in the end, Vatizrach lo Yashemesh, and in the end, Vayova Yaakov Sholem. And that's how we can deal with the Yisurei Hagolus. So the bottom line of the message of the Gid Anoshe is that even if you lose a battle, you could still win the war. And even if you have a painful experience, you can still move forward. The Ramban also says on the pasuk Vayar ki lo yochoi loy v'omru b'breishis rabba noga b'chol hatzadikim she'asidim liyos mimenu zeh doiroi shel shmad v'ha'inyan ki ha'ma'oiro kuloi remez lidoiroisov sheyiyeh dor b'zaroi shel Yaakov yizgaber Esav aleihem ad sheyiyeh koroiv l'ka'kea bitzoson. V'hoyo zeh dor echad b'yimei chachmei ha'mishne k'dor shel Reb Yehuda ben Bava v'chaveroch k'moi she'omru amar Reb Chiya bar Abba im yomer li odom tein nafshecha al kedusha shmoi shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu ani noisen b'vat she'yarguni miyad aval b'dorei shel shmat eini yochad lizboil. In other words, the Vateka Kaf and the Lo Yochoi Loi is even more difficult than the Yochoi Loi, because if he'd knock him out, I mean, it's the end of the story. And the Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov and Lo Yochoi Loi is even more difficult. Uma yu oisim b'dorei shel shmad yu mevim kaduriyoi shel barzel u'malabdin oisim b'ur v'noisim oisim tachas sichehen u'masin nafshesei mehen. V'yesh doros acherim, the Ramban concludes, that, I mean, in Chazal, it sounds like the Doros Shel Reb Yehuda ben Bava was the worst. The Ramban concludes, V'yesh doros acherim she'osu imanu kozeh v'yoser ramizeh. V'hakol savalnu v'ovar oleinu k'moi she'romaz v'yovo Yaakov Sholem. So it's to remember, again, that in spite of the Tzoleya al Yerechoi, in spite of the Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov, we could still move on. Move forward. The emes is that Rashi brings from Chazal that the Ish, this mysterious Ish, is the Soroi Shel Esav. What is it that Yaakov says to him? Loi ashalechacho ki im beirachtani. I mean, today, people go around for brachas all the time. But Yaakov Avinu, why does he want a bracha? And from whom does he want a bracha? He wants a bracha from this ish that Chazal tell us is the soroi shel Esav. I mean, what's so choshev about a bracha from the soroi shel Esav? And he doesn't want to let him go until Beirach Tani. No, there's a man in the Gemara that says that the soroi shel Esav was ketalmid chacham nidmeloi in Chulun Daf Tzadik Aleph. No, so maybe he wanted a bracha, but I don't think Yaakov Avinu, would want a bracha from such a, mefukpik dike talmid chacham that's having a fight with him. Yeah, that's wrestling with him. Avada, according to the Mandomer, koivit koichovim nidmeloi. So Avada fashtei minish. Why does he want a bracha from this ish? From this ish. By the way, I say that what's the machloikis koivit koichovim nidmeloi ketalmid chacham nidmeloi? Why would the sorei shel Esav, who is the representative of evil, why would he appear as a Talmid Chacham? But the pshat is that, there's two Yetzer Haras. One Yetzer Hara is mefata a person to do Averis head on. That's the Koivit Kechavim Nidmeloi. But there's another Yetzer Hara that actually shows us the role model of the perfect Talmid Chacham. And since we don't feel capable of becoming that, so we give up on being who and what we ought to be and can be, because we just want to be that perfect Talmid Chacham Nidmeloi. So that's another appearance of the sorei shel Esav. That's another way that the evil inclination overcomes us, by wanting to be a Talmid Chacham. Like it says in the Midrash in Parshas Vayishlach, it says, the Midrash says, Toiv ze hachayim, mo'oid ze hamoves, Toiv ze yetzer hatoiv, ra ze yetzer, mo'oid ze yetzer hara. So the extreme Toiv is the yetzer hara. Why is that? Because Toiv is Toiv. Good is good. But too good is not good. If you want to be toiv ma'oid, that's the Yetzer Hara. Toiv ze hachayim. Good is life. But toiv ma'oid, that's death. That's movis. Because one can't live a life of toiv ma'oid, and therefore he throws in the towel. So that's the Yetzer Hara of Talmid Chacham Nidmeloi. But why does Yaakov Avinu want a bracha? And he says, Lo yashalecha chokim berachtani. So Rashi, there's an interesting Rashi in the context of this bracha, that when Yaakov says Yaakov, when Yaakov says that he doesn't want to send him, and then he asks him, "What's your name?" and he says Yaakov, and he says, "Your name will not be Yaakov, your name will be Yisrael." So Rashi says, "Lo Yaakov, lo ye," in pasuk Chaf Tes. Rashi says, Lo Yaakov, lo ye omer oid, shahabrochos bo'u lecho ba'akeva uremiya, ki im besroro v'gilui ponim. That's the meaning of Lo Yaakov, ye omer oid shimcha, ki im Yisrael ki soriso. And now Rashi adds, and this is a midrash, v'soifcha sha'kodesh baruch hu niglo alecha bebeis el, u'machlif shimcha, V'sham hu mevarechecha. So you're going to get a bracha from the Rabbeinu Shalom, and he's going to change your name. V'ani yesham v'oida l'cha aleim. And if you're worried, I'll be there, and I will be moide that you deserve the name change. So you'll get your bracha in time. V'zeu shekosuv, it's a pasuk in Hosea, vayosar el maloch vayuchal. Bochoy vayischanein loy. So Rashi says, Bocho hamalach. The malach was crying now to Yaakov, vayischanein loy, and was begging him. Uman ischanein loy. What was the malach begging? Beis el yimtzaenu. This is another pasuk over there in Hosea. Beis el yimtzoenu v'sham yedaber imonu. Hamtein li. Wait it out. Achi yedaber imonu sham, until Hashem will talk to us in Beis El. V'lo yirotza Yaakov. Yaakov didn't want to wait. V'al korchoi hoide lo yaleim v'zel vayivorchoi se sham. Shahoya mischanen lahamtin lo v'lo yirotza. So you see, it's not only that Yaakov wants a bracha from the Tzar Shalaitzel, he wants it now, here and now. He tells him, you're going to get it in time, in Beis El, and Hashem will give you the bracha. No, he wants the bracha now. What's this about? So Avada, we don't know. But nevertheless, I want to suggest that Yaakov is actually, the reason that Yaakov wants the bracha here and now is because Yaakov is looking for the blessing in the curse. In other words, he wants to connect with the positive meaning of the suffering. He's not interested in a bracha later that will counterbalance the negative experience, but he wants to transform the negative experience into a positive experience. He wants to see the silver lining in the Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov. And that's why he wants to know what's positive about this experience. And he says, he doesn't want to let go of the pain until it becomes positive, until he learns the positive side of this. So he tells him, that this battle really has a positive meaning, because it teaches you that you can advance as you are tzaileya. And Adirabeh, the true advancement is dafke if you can move forward mitoich the tzaileya al yereichoi, and that is really the hisgabrus on the Sorei Shaleisov. In other words, the way to overcome the Sorei Shaleisov is not by being sholem. Sholem you'll be one day. But the way to overcome the Sorei Shaleisov, and especially the way we're saying the Talmud Chacham Nidmaloi tells you that you have to be perfect. And if you're not perfect, you're nothing. It's all or nothing. He says, no. The message is you can beat Tzaileya al Yereichoi and continue to walk on. That is the Sarisa im Elohim ve'im Anoshim vatuchal. That is the emissary gvura of Yaakov. You know, Tisha B'Av is called a mo'ed. We don't say tachanun on Tisha B'Av. It's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch. They bring a pasuk, Kikaro alai mo'ed lishbur bachuroi. It's hard to understand how we see in that pasuk that it's a mo'ed in the positive sense. Pashtus, it means yi'idas gayosos, or it means a date that was set aside for Puranus. Okay, people understand that it has to do with the idea of Yehofchu Yomim Elu L'Sasonu L'Simcha, that eventually the Tzoymois will become Yomim Tovim. But you see, we do say Tachanon on Shivasa B'Tammuz, and we do say Tachanon on Tzem Gedalia. So it has to be that it's something in particular Shaykh to Tisha B'Av. So why is Tisha B'Av a Yom Tov? You know that in the Zohar HaKodesh, in this week's parsha, it says that the Shin Samachei Lavim, the 365 Lavim, are connected the Shin Samachei days of the year. And it says in the Zohar that the Lav of Gid HaNoshe is Mechovin connected the day of Tisha B'Av. Yeah. Mechovin connected the day of Tisha B'Av. You know, it's a fascinating thing in the Chassam Sofer, in Parshas Dvarim, on the pasuk Achad Osor Yom Michorev. So Rashi says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mi'er Aleim Begimel Yom, and really it's a 11-day trip, but they made it in 3 days. So what was the reason that Hashem rushed their trip, that they should get there in 3 days? So he says like this: Ki Tisha B'Av Hu Yom Avikas Yaakov Avinu Im HaMalach Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov. And this is really, I don't know, he knows this Baruch HaKodesh. I haven't found any midrashic source to this statement that Tisha B'Av was the day of this Vayovek Ish Imoy. Now he says, V'loi rotza HaKadosh Baruch Hu sheyiyeh oiso yoim b'toich yimei HaMeraglim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want that the day of the Vayavik Ish Imoy should be within the 40 days of the Meraglim, Shuhula Puronis, because those days are days of Puronis. Al Kain Hoy Vilam Begimel Yomin, Kedei Shiyeh Chazoras HaMeraglim, Beyoim Ches Ov, Terem Nichnas Tishabov. The Im Lo Hirshiu, Oz, the Hishivu B'tshuva Mal Yiseh, Oz Oisolel Tishabov Hoyu Mesaknim, they would be misakin it all. Va'achar Yisukan Kaf Yaakov Kashiel Osid Lovoi Al Kain Ksiv L'Kamon Ad Midrach Kaf Regel. The Ad Midrach Kaf Regel is that Losid Lovoi will become a sukin the Kaf Regel, which is the Regel of Yaakov. The Hein Bavoy Niseinu Arabim Kilkulu B'Dibo Shalhem V'Kovu B'Chiel Adoris and the kids. That's how Tisha B'Av came into being. But in any case, this is what the Chassam Sofer says. But the Zohar says, Mefurish, that the day of Tisha B'Av is Mechuvin Keneged the Gid HaNosha. So what am I saying? So the Gid HaNosha really represents the reframing of a negative experience. It's Vateka Kaf Yerech Yaakov, but V'hut Tzoileya, but Tzoileya Al Yerechoy. And he continues the journey forward. And that's why it could be that Tisha B'Av in particular is Ikri Moyed, because the Ganze Golus is really nirmaz in this story, as the Rishonim are saying and as the Midrashim are saying. And that's the way we should be looking at the Golus, that it's taka painful, but the pain is positive. It says, Yasser Yisrani Kovel Amoves Lo Nesanoni. So I say, that there are three readings of this pasuk. One reading is Poshit. Yasser Yisrani Kovel. But nevertheless, he was kind and good to me. Lamoves Lo Nesanoni. Didn't kill me. There's a worse reading of this pasuk, like the pessimist's reading, that says Yasser Yisrani Kovel, and it's so painful. He didn't even kill me. If he would have killed me, at least I'd be over with the pain. But so he's even upset about the Valamovas Le'Sanani. But in any case, this pasuk is a pasuk in Halil. So it would seem that even the Yasser Yisrani Ko is positive. And that's because there's another way to read this pasuk and another way to read life. And that is that Yasser Yisrani Ko, and through that, Valamovas Le'Sanani. Meaning, when a person doesn't have Yisurim, so he might live a superficial life. He might live a life void of meaning. And it's dafke, the Yasser Yisrani Ko, that is goyrim, the Valamoves Lo Nesanoni. And Memela, he's thankful also for the Yasser Yisrani. The pasuk goes on, Pischuli Sharei Tzedek, Ovoi Vom Oide, Kozeh Ashkar La Hashem Tzadikim Yavoi Ovoi. So where is that gate? Where is that gateway to Hashem? The Alter from Kelm says that the Zeh Hashar La Hashem is the Yasser Yisrani Ko. That's the gateway. Because how does a person connect? How is there a crack in our shell that allows the divine light to penetrate? That's through Yisurim, like Chazal say, Shchino l'mayla mirashoisav shel choyle. As long as things are happy-go-lucky, I mean, he's not aware of the Shchina. But l'maylo mirashoisav shel choyle that's where there's an exposure to the Shechina. So the Zeh Hashar LaHashem is really the Shar of Yasser Yitzrani Ko, and that also connects with what the next pasuk says, according to the Shloah HaKodesh. The next pasuk says, Oidecha ki ani sani, which simply means that you answered my prayers, Vatehili lishua, and you were for me a salvation. However, the Shloah HaKodesh says that ani sani also has the meaning of ini sani, that you pained me, that you were ma'ana me. And Oidecha ki ani sani, I'm thankful for that also, because salvation comes through the Yisurim Yaso Yisrani Koval Amovis Loinis Sanoni, Ze Ashar Hashem Tzadikim Yavoy Uvoy, Oy the Chakiani Sani Batehili Lishua. Memela, that's the message of Tisha B'Av Ikri Moyed, and that's the message of Al Kain Lo Yoichlu B'nei Yisrael as Gid Anoshe. Not necessarily that we're trying to play it down, like the Sefarno says, but we're playing it up. But we're saying that as painful as it was, we nevertheless continue, and not only that we continue, but we thrive, and that's the Jewish story of Yidden and Golus, that we grow from the challenges. We see every challenge as an opportunity for growth, and every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. That's what I'm saying. Rabbi